Hello there YouTube, this is Father Duke 9000, and welcome to a very, very special re-upload. How is it special? Because it's my final re-upload. Yes, after an entire year of doing re-uploads in addition to my regular work because of Toei's stupid copyright laws, I am finally done with these stupid re-uploads. And I thought I'd celebrate this by re-uploading my 25th review. Now, originally I was just going to re-upload the original thing, except that I did not save it through Movie Maker and I lost a lot of things, so I just had to redo it from scratch. I also took the opportunity to redo the script and add in a few other things that I think would make the review a bit more credible, as well as a couple of things I intended to put in but left out for whatever reason that I can't remember for the life of me. And so, after all this mess, let's watch my final re-upload for Simpsons Hit and Run for the Xbox. Hello there YouTube, this is Father Duke 9000, and welcome to my 25th review. A re-upload of it anyways. With this re-upload I now have over 200 subscribers and over 180,000 upload views. It's not much compared to some of the other reviewers on YouTube I know, but hey, what I've got means a lot to me, so that calls for a big hurrah! Hurrah! So, for this epic occasion, I'm going to do a review of a particularly nostalgic game in the way I originally intended to do reviews before I change things up, by using a method that rips off Gex episode reviews, which themselves ripped off Nightwing's reviews. It's time to review The Simpsons Hit and Run for the Xbox. Okay, unlike most internet reviewers, I will not be going in depth on the quality of recent Simpsons episodes or whether or not the show should have ended years ago. All I'm going to say on things is that the quality can be wildly inconsistent, from very heartwarming to wastes of talent and effort that only succeed in making you bang your head out of the wall in sheer confusion. And speaking of wild inconsistency, let's talk about the many Simpsons games made over the years with varying quality, particularly those done by Acclaim. In fact, for years on end, the only Simpsons game that was considered to be any good was the side-scrolling beat-em-up developed by Konami in the early 90s. And at the time this game was released, the newest publisher of any games weren't doing anything to change that. Up until 2003, they developed two Simpsons games that were very derivative of other popular games. The first was The Simpsons Skateboarding, a poorly received PS2 exclusive made to cash in on the extreme sports craze brought on by the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series, and the other was the very despicable Simpsons Road Rage, which was such a blatant copy of the Crazy Taxi games that the publisher of those games, Sega, actually sued Fox Interactive and Vivendi for copyright infringement. After that mess was settled, the developer of Road Rage, the now defunct Radical Entertainment, set about making a sequel, but changing every element other than the driving to improve the overall game quality, and thus The Simpsons Hit and Run was born. Released for many consoles in 2003 to quite positive reviews, the game is nowadays considered to be the only other good Simpsons game ever made. And on its 10th anniversary, is Hit and Run still any good? Well, let's start the race and find out. Once again in the land of Springfield, though no one seems to know where it is, all sorts of strange nonsense is about. Black camera vans are being spotted outside of people's houses, wasp-shaped cameras are appearing all around town or whenever something interesting is going down, and the denizens of Springfield are being rendered in a nightmarish hybrid of cheesy 90s CGI and plasticine. Clearly, this is a conspiracy. And because everyone else in the town is so bloody lazy, it's once again up to the Simpsons to do everything for these bloody Egypts. So, as Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Alina Fapu, you have to find out the answer to why strange vans and cameras are appearing all over the place, why everyone is obsessed with driving nowadays, and what the hell happened to the quality of the writing. Like I said before, since Hit and Run was retooled to be different from Road Rage, It's not derivative of Crazy Taxi, but instead the free-roaming, mission-completing sandbox style seen in the incredibly successful Grand Theft Auto 3 released a few years prior, and as such retains both the driving and on-foot ideas presented in that game. Well, aside from shooting people, killing prostitutes, and going to jail. While on foot, the A button jumps with an obligatory double jump that's activated by pressing A while in the air, the B button sprints, the X button attacks with a simple kick or a punch, and the Y button is the interactive button, where you can go into cars, enter buildings, access clothes/car shops, and activate gags. The latter basically being little in-jokes to the show's past or visual gags that accomplish nothing other than making fans of the show smile. While driving, you can accelerate with either the A button or the right trigger, brake and reverse with the B button or left trigger, and activate the handbrake for turns with the X button. There are 7 levels in the game overall, but really there are only 3 levels, just repeated with different times of day and different sections open depending on where you are, all of which cover many iconic areas from the show such as Evergreen Terrace, the power plant, the massive spaghetti highway, the city center, the seedier streets of Springfield, the pier, and more. In each level there are 8 missions, the first 7 being story missions that you need to complete in order to access the next level, and the 8th mission is just a bonus mission if you want to unlock another vehicle. Throughout each level, Milhouse, Nelson, and Ralph also appear to give you driving challenges, which are time trials, circuit race, and checkpoint race respectively, and if you win all 3 of them, you get a bonus car from Patty and Selma. There's also another sort of time trial where you bet money against a member of the Mafia to try and get around the whole level within a short time limit. In each level there are 7 cards which reference an item from a previous episode of the series related to the character you play as, and when you collect all 7 you unlock a bonus track, which you can access from the main menu, but when you collect all 49, well, you'll find out when you get them. You can also buy costumes and extra vehicles in shirt stores found in random rooms and Old Guild respectively. And finally, there's the titular hit and run meter, where if you cause too much trouble by running over people, crashing into everything, or any other heinous acts of hooliganism, the police will come after you, and if you get caught before the meter cools down, you'll have to pay a fine of 50 Buzz coins, which can be obtained by destroying the Wasp cameras, but mostly from Buzz Cola vendors' boxes. Okay, back when I was a kid, like everyone else, I loved the hell out of The Simpsons, and back then I hadn't played any Simpsons games before, so come Christmas 2004, I wanted to play Simpsons Hit and Run, mainly because the style of gameplay looked a lot like the old PlayStation 1 driver games to me. Remember, I was only 8 at the time and didn't know Grand Theft Auto existed at that point due to living in the middle of nowhere. And originally I'd wanted to get it on the PlayStation 2, which I also wanted to get for Christmas. However, when I woke up on Christmas Day, I found I'd gotten Hit and Run, but not on the PlayStation 2, but instead a Crystal Xbox, apparently due to some sort of shipping issue at the time. Hence why this game is so nostalgic to me. It was my first ever Xbox game, and even though I prefer the PlayStation 2 over the Xbox, I can't deny that I'll probably keep playing Hit and Run on some kind of Xbox. In fact, I used my old copy on the Xbox 360 in order to review it. That's how big of a deal it is to me. Now, while I have a hell of a lot of nostalgic love for this game, I can't deny that there are a few issues holding it back. First of all, the game can occasionally feel a little repetitive, with many missions having a general formula of either go to X area and Y time limit, smash into something a number of times to blow it up, or something of that sort. It's not a bad formula per se, but it can become a bit predictable after a while. Another problem is that the difficulty of the missions can sometimes become a little insane, at least for young or inexperienced gamers. From personal experience, I can tell you that there are quite a few missions that drove younger me up the wall and how frustrating they were. I mean, nowadays I can handle them fine, but the point I'm trying to make is that for a game primarily intended for younger gamers, the difficulty can be a heck of a problem. Something else that I didn't enjoy was the final level, mainly because of how disappointing it was. I won't spoil the details for those among you who haven't gotten to it, but basically the world is given a massive shakeup that gives potential for a lot of inventive or cool missions, but for some reason the majority of the missions in this level are exactly the bloody same. Heck, not even the final mission is any different aside from a tighter time limit. Seriously, you don't even get some sort of final boss. How anticlimactic is that? However, the worst part of the game has to be the bonus missions, which play like the old Micro Machines games, if the controls were even more buggered than Superman 64. Due to the top-down perspective, it's hard to tell what direction you push the thumbstick to go in at the right direction, and since the controls themselves are very, very sensitive in these levels, you'll end up crashing into walls over and over again, and more often than not, losing to the somehow brilliantly playing computer opponents. Seriously, if you're able to get first place in these stupid sections without resorting to multiplayer, then you are a god among men, fellow viewer. Still, despite these problems, I'll say that, by God, is this game really good. For starters, the missions, while repetitive and occasionally very difficult, are really fun to play, and a lot of the time I played through it, a big smile was plastered on my face as I took on all sorts of crazy challenges and fun missions, as well as messing about the streets of Springfield like a rabid lunatic. Actually, that's something else I should talk about. This is the first and so far only time that anyone has tried to accurately recreate Springfield in a game that wasn't some kind of simulation, and personally, I think Radical did a very good job at that. Not only did they manage to get several of the show's famous landmarks in places that make sense, but they also add in new areas that make the levels overall well designed. In addition to this, there are tons of references and in-jokes to the series that'll make longtime fans smile. I've already mentioned the little gags you can activate and landmarks found around the city, but you can also buy costumes and vehicles that come from the show. From Homer's Moo Moo outfit to Bart's shuttle car from that go-kart episode, to Lisa's Florida sandwich outfit, and many other examples. If you're a longtime fan of the series, then you're going to love all the winks and nods to the fans. However, the best aspect of the game has to be its criminally underrated soundtrack. Usually the soundtracks for Simpsons games either rearrange the theme tune to death, or come off as very forgettable. However, this game's soundtrack is not either of those two cases. There are several tracks for almost every occasion in the game, from missions to wandering about levels, and even when you're buying clothes. There's a large variety of genres used, from rock to jazz to Indian and more, and in general, they're all really fun, memorable tracks. Honestly, there's so many great tracks that it's possible to make a top 30 best hit-and-run music tracks. Hold on, I'm gonna go write that down for a minute. Overall, The Simpsons Hit and Run is a very good game with very fun missions, very well designed and huge levels, is great to play, lots of references to the show, and has the best gaming soundtrack of 2003 hands down. However, it's let down by being occasionally repetitive and frustrating missions for younger gamers, an anticlimactic, disappointing finale, and oversensitive, very annoying bonus missions. Even though this game really deserves a sequel, it's probably not going to happen since, as I mentioned before, Radical are now defunct, and EA can't be arsed to do anything with the Simpsons license anymore. Even so, I highly recommend you get Hit and Run if you're a fan of the Simpsons, sandbox games, or both. I give the Simpsons Hit and Run a rating of very good, meaning great, but is held back by a few noticeable problems, and it also gets an all formats recommendation, meaning that if you can find this game on any format, unless it's really buggy, get it. I'm Father Dugan 8000, and if you're a subscriber, friend, viewer, or otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed my videos, even the unscripted ones and the constant re-uploads over the last year. And thank you very much to all of you for sticking by me over the last 2 and a bit years. I hope you enjoy whatever I've done and whatever else I'm going to make in the foreseeable future, and I'll see you all for my next video. Have a great day, y'all!